Right now at 10, alert day conditions are in the forecast. How hot will we get over the coming days?
And a man is dead after falling into Lake Mendota. We're live with the latest details as police investigate his death.
Plus, a recent visitor to Madison drops off a generous gift, a donation from Coldplay to support local musicians. It's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson. It's been a very warm and humid day, but even hotter weather in the forecast.
That's right. Meteorologist Jacob Madison joins us with more on alert day conditions coming our way. Jacob?
Yeah, Eric, it has been a warm one and still kind of warm at this hour. Upper 70s and some areas still hanging on to the lower 80s. If we take a look at the highs from earlier, though, we were in the middle and upper 80s. A few locations got close to the lower 90s, but we did stay in the 80s. That's at least the actual temperatures. The heat index values got up to the middle 90s for some locations, and it's going to get even worse for tomorrow, where we have an alert day in the forecast for heat index values expected to reach around 100, if not close to 105. So the heat will be fairly dangerous, especially during those afternoon hours, and we have a heat advisory in effect for tomorrow. It will go into effect at 11 a.m. and last until 8 p.m. Now, we also had the chance for some storms, and those storms are going to begin late tonight. They'll move into our area around 2 to 4 a.m., and latest models are suggesting that we actually could see some storms for Madison and surrounding areas, but still the best chance of storms will be for areas north of Madison, but they could produce some minor severe weather, really strong winds being the only hazard. And this is really only going to occur during the morning. By the afternoon, we're going to see plenty of sunshine, and that will allow those temperatures to really warm up. Actual temperatures pretty easily will get into the 90s, maybe middle 90s for some areas, and heat index values likely in the triple digits. So I'll talk more in detail about that coming up a bit later.
Jacob, thank you. Now to continuing coverage out on Lake Mendota tonight, where a man has died.
A call for help came in just before 3:20 this afternoon after a boat with a family on it went under. News 3 Now's Maddie Heimsch is live at the Warner Park Boat Lodge and has the latest on the effort.
Sarah and Eric, like you said, we now know the man found unresponsive in the lake earlier today is dead. The Dane County Sheriff's Office confirming that man was 44 years old and was found just across the north side of Lake Mendota here near Governor Nelson State Park. Now, the original call for help came in just before 3:30 this afternoon for a boating incident involving 2 adults and a few children. And when rescue crews arrived, they found a mom and accounted for each of her children, but could not account for the dad of that family. Now, here's what another boater on the lake at the time told our crews about that search operation.
I did notice the police boats, and there was the search and rescue boat out by the rock pile that comes out of the Yahara River there. As I was going up into the creek, I did hear some screaming, I heard a lady screaming.
Rescue efforts began at 3:17, and the sheriff's office says the man was found at 3:22 p.m., just 5 minutes later. And crews did try to save the man's life when they found him, but those attempts were not successful. The sheriff's office says it's still investigating the death. Reporting live on Madison's north side, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
A very sad story, Maddie. Thank you. Meanwhile, Madison police are investigating a shooting that left one person hurt this morning. Residents, though, are calling this incident rare. According to Madison police, the apartment complex on Schlimgen Avenue just started renting out units last year and hadn't gotten any calls for service to the area until last November. Overall, authorities say it's been a safe season citywide, but police know numbers don't mean the same to the people who hear the gunshots outside their homes.
We encourage anyone, if they are sensing conflict, with neighbors or within their own family, to reach out ahead of time, and we will send a team out there to help ease those conflicts so we don't have to respond to another incident like this.
Multiple people, including a person of interest, have been detained as the victim remains in the hospital with life-threatening injuries. No charges have been filed.
A Beaver Dam man has been arrested by Madison police in connection with an ongoing sexual assault investigation. Friday, Owen Sindelar was booked into the Dane County Jail. He faces several charges, including third-degree sexual assault, strangulation, child enticement, and exposing himself to a child. Madison police say they were actively investigating Sindelar's activities in the area, and online court records show he has an open case in Dodge County, where he's charged with 10 counts of possession of child pornography.
The state Capitol Police are working to identify a man who they say tried to open the door of a state representative's home. Yesterday, police say a shirtless man tried to get into State Representative Priscilla Prado's Milwaukee home. He then walked around the property for a while afterwards. The man is believed to be in his late 40s to early 50s, about 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, with shoulder-length blonde hair. If you can identify the man, you're asked to contact the State Capitol Police Department. Meanwhile, in Washington, the U.S. House of Representatives is increasing security funding for members to use in their home states. Members will now receive $20,000 for home security. That's double the previous allotment. They'll also get $5,000 a month to pay for personal security through the end of the fiscal year, which comes on September 30th.
Well, we could see a greater presence of nuclear energy here in Wisconsin. A new bill recently signed by Governor Tony Evers would have the state implement a new siting study that would look into what other locations could be viable for new nuclear plants. We spoke with the chair of the Nuclear Engineering Department at UW-Madison for more on what a possible new nuclear plant might look like.
When you look to site a nuclear power plant, the first are environmental factors. Do you have enough water for cooling? Are there earthquake risks and faults? That's not very common in Wisconsin, so it probably won't be a major factor. But mostly it's going to be the water and cooling is probably going to be the major environmental factor.
The Nuclear Engineering Department says many of the sites on the Lake Michigan coast work well because they can take coolant water in and then send it back out into the lake.
President Trump's tariffs could make home ownership even less affordable for many Americans. A new report from the Canadian Chamber of Commerce estimates that if tariffs on Canadian imports remain in place, the average cost of building a home in the U.S. could rise by an additional $14,000 in the next 2 years. Now, that's because Canada is the third largest source of imports used in U.S. home construction. Also, General Motors says new tariffs cost the company more than $1 billion last quarter alone. GM sales are down 2% to $47 billion. The automaker says it is working to adapt to new trade and tax policies. It's investing $4 billion to increase production of some vehicles in the U.S., making it less susceptible to those tariffs. Target is changing its price match policy, and that policy let customers get a refund for the price difference of a product if they found it cheaper on either Amazon, Walmart, or at another Target store within 14 days of purchase. But beginning next Monday, that price match policy will only be valid if customers find an item for a cheaper price at a Target store or on the Target website. Target launched its price matching policy back in 2013. Amazon doesn't have one. Walmart ended theirs in 2019.
SSM Health is providing a mini grant to expand access to lead testing for children in Rock County. Rock County has a large number of homes that were built prior to 1950, and more than 50% of homes in some areas of Janesville and Beloit are rentals, which may not have received regular renovations or safety updates. SSM Health has already provided a 2024 mini grant to purchase lead testing kits and supplies. A new study found alarming levels of forever chemicals in reusable menstrual products. The study analyzed a total of 59 products, and researchers detected extremely high levels of PFAS, endocrine disruptors linked to serious health problems, including cancer. The study did not identify manufacturers, but they did say the majority of these products were made in the U.S.
High temperatures are back in the forecast, as we mentioned this week, and the humidity is coming with it. SSM Health says humidity can be especially bad for the human body when it's really humid outside. Your sweat doesn't evaporate as well, which keeps your body hotter for longer. Doctors say that can quickly lead to heat exhaustion, even heat stroke.
You may be very confused. You might have people tell you your speech is slurred. That is a medical emergency. Heat stroke, you got to get to the emergency room and get cooled down fast.
Doctors say the most important thing you can do when it's hot out is to limit your time outdoors. If you do have to go outside, SSM Health recommends sticking to 20-minute intervals of activity.
Well, the Madison Area Music Association received a pretty special gift from a recent visitor to the city. As you all know, over the weekend, Coldplay came to town to perform at Camp Randall. And the association says before the show, they received an email from Frank Productions that Coldplay would like to donate 3 keyboards. The association's executive director says they're very excited to receive the generous donation.
Keyboards is something we kind of always need, I think, so whether for private teaching studios or for, classrooms, things like that. So we could definitely use them for sure.
So now they'll be working to find a good home for the instruments.
Still to come on News 3 Now at 10, the Prince of Darkness has passed away.
And the Justice Department requests to meet with a longtime associate of Jeffrey Epstein. This as elected officials on both sides push for more transparency.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Heavy metal icon Ozzy Osbourne has died at the age of 76.
On social media, the British rocker's family said he died this morning, surrounded by his loving family. A cause of death was not revealed. Osbourne launched his career as the frontman of the band that would become Black Sabbath back in 1968 and later went solo. His passing comes just weeks after he performed with Black Sabbath in England in what was billed as his farewell show.
Activists in southern Florida are calling for the immediate shutdown of the immigrant detention center that's known as Alligator Alcatraz. One detainee called his wife during the protest. She said he has a foot fungus due to water on the floor and is often treated harshly by the guards. Other reports say food and water are substandard. Getting prescription medication can be difficult, and the heat and humidity is dangerous. Activists also railed against the name the Trump administration has given to the facility.
Alligator Alcatraz was designed to be a joke. Is this a joke? No. Yeah. Is this a joke? No. To mock the very real suffering of migrants, to strip up fear, to stir up fear, and to turn human rights violations into campaign slogans.
Florida officials say the facility meets the standards that are required by law. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis told reporters he feels some of the claims being made are exaggerated.
President Trump is accusing former President Barack Obama of treason.
This as the Justice Department has reached out to convicted sex offender Ghislaine Maxwell about scheduling a meeting. Erica Brown with the latest now from Washington.
President Trump welcomed the president of the Philippines to the White House Tuesday, but in the Oval Office, talk quickly turned away from trade, with the president accusing former President Barack Obama of treason, telling reporters he was responsible for leading what Trump has called the Russia hoax in 2016.
They tried to steal the election.
A spokesperson for Obama responded, calling Trump's allegations, quote, ridiculous and a weak attempt at a distraction. President Trump made the accusations against Obama shortly after he was asked about the Justice Department working to schedule a meeting with a longtime Jeffrey Epstein associate and convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. The president says he thinks it's appropriate that his Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, is reaching out to Maxwell.
He's a very talented person. He's very smart. I didn't know that they were going to do it.
This comes as Speaker Mike Johnson announced he is ending the House session early for summer break to head off Democrats' calls for votes for greater transparency into the Epstein investigation. Among those pressing for more disclosure about Epstein, Kentucky Republican Thomas Massey.
I mean, people have wanted these files for years. And then, the president's staff, administration, his own children, his vice president have promised that these files would come out, and now we're being told it's a hoax. It doesn't wash.
Massey said the lack of transparency is costing the president.
He's eroding his base. More importantly, if we don't take the right side of this issue, it's going to cost us votes in the midterms.
The Deputy Attorney General says the Justice Department expects to speak with Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell in the coming days. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
A major shift is coming to the skies for recreational pilots. A new rule called the Modernization of Special Airworthiness Certification. It's known as Mosaic. It'll throw out outdated weight limits, allow for more advanced designs, and let sport pilots fly a broader range of aircraft. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, a Wisconsin native, unveiled the sweeping update to the FAA regulations. He was up at the EAA aircraft show up in Oshkosh today.
We just finalized a major reform that's going to make recreational flying safer, more accessible, and far less red tape to tie us up in. And as you all know, that is our mission on Mosaic.
Now, some changes will take effect within 90 days. Others, though, will roll out over the next year. Alert day conditions are on the way for southern Wisconsin, with it set to feel hotter than 100 degrees outside tomorrow.
Meteorologist Jacob Montesano joins us now with all of this and how it would look and feel.
Yeah, tomorrow will be the hottest day this week, but even beyond tomorrow, we're still talking about heat index values at least in the lower 90s. Now, we are going to see a few chances of storms as well. We'll see a chance of storms early Wednesday and also Thursday afternoons. But starting with that heat, we have the alert day tomorrow. Now, just because the alert day is only for tomorrow, it doesn't mean we aren't going to see warm temperatures for the rest of the week. It's just tomorrow will certainly be the warmest. And speaking of tomorrow, there's a heat advisory in effect from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. and this is for our entire region. So let's take a look at those heat index values. They are going to be near 100 for most of the afternoon hours tomorrow, even into the evening as well. They're not going to drop back into the 80s until pretty well after sunset, and even the morning heat index values will be in the middle 70s with the higher humidity levels, so it's going to feel very muggy even during the overnight hours, even though it's not going to be quite as hot. Still going to be uncomfortable. Now for Thursday, we're going to get back into the 90s, a little bit better further west where upper 80s are in the forecast for your heat index values. And then for Friday, most of the area in the upper 80s, maybe lower 90s, but it looks like Thursday through Saturday, although still warm, won't be as bad. But then once we get to Sunday and Monday next week, it does look like we are going to see those heat index values rise back into the middle 90s and then possibly back to the triple digits Monday of next week. Now, we don't have an alert day in the forecast for Monday simply because a lot can change between now and then. But if this forecast continues, we definitely would have another alert day. Now, speaking of that alert day that is tomorrow, Concert on the Square right now is still scheduled. If it does happen, we aren't expecting any rainfall, but we are expecting those hot temperatures. And even after sunset, we still could be talking about heat index values in the lower 90s. So if you plan on attending, stay hydrated and definitely try and stick to some of the shaded areas. And on top of that, wear lightweight, light colored clothes. That could help. And if you have any elderly or pets that you're bringing along, definitely keep an eye on them as well. Now, looking at the severe weather outlook for tomorrow, there is a marginal risk for areas west and north of Madison, but we're not expecting widespread severe weather. Still could see some rain for Madison and areas south, but not as much. And then for Thursday, marginal risk for everybody. But in both cases, there's just a small chance of severe weather, not expecting widespread conditions, with those storms moving in later tonight around 2 to 4 a.m. and pushing across our area during the morning. The best chance of rain will be for northern areas, Madison and areas south. Not expect to see severe weather. Still could see some rain, but not quite as much. And everyone will likely see this rain clear out by the late morning, and we're going to see sunshine for the afternoon hours, with more rain returning once we get to Thursday. Actually could see some of that rain later Wednesday night and into Thursday, but the best chance of rain Thursday will be during the afternoon. More rain chances are then expected to end the week, but temperatures will still be warm.
All right, Jacob, thank you. And in sports tonight, all eyes on the Brewers trying to get to that 12 and those free burgers, right?
I mean, this makes me hungry, right? And like, okay, so who's on the mound? The Miz, right? So you think that it's good news. Coming up in sports, all eyes, ears, and the TVs. We're in Seattle to watch Jacob Mizorowski pitch. What one win would give Brewer fans? Hint, some beef. That's next on News 3 Now. There's a lot of pressure on Jacob Mizorowski tonight. One more win and the George Webb Burger Joints in Milwaukee will be handing out free burgers for the crew's 12th straight win. And the Miz, well, he was bringing the heat against the Mariners when he was on the mound. He didn't allow a run over 3 2/3 innings while striking out 7 batters. But in the 6th, the MLB's home run leader broke free. Cal Raleigh sends a solo shot to the seats, this one in the 7th. Brewers down 1-0. Kamara McGee's final season in Madison was one to remember. Every time he entered the game, he was instant energy and it was contagious. McGee scored in double figures in 9 games last season while shooting a team-high 46% from three-point range. And that consistency earned McGee a pro contract. The former Badger is heading overseas to play professionally in Bosnia. After interning here in college, the goal was always to get back to News 3, and honestly, I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I moved back to Wisconsin during March of 2020. I just landed my dream job, and instantly all the sports were canceled. I didn't know I'd get to take road trips to Brooklyn and Denver during March Madness, or to Tampa for the ReliaQuest Bowl, or to Duluth and Durham to cover the best women's hockey team on the planet. I didn't know I'd get to create the Badger Blueprint or introduce a first-of-its-kind NIL show called Wisconsin Huddle, be part of the Bucks parade after they won an NBA championship, or cover the NFL draft in Green Bay. But I did, and what I got in return is hard to put into words. Communities, coaches, athletes, and viewers took me in as if I was one of their own and let me tell their story and be part of their big moments. So a simple thank you isn't enough. I've worked with some amazing colleagues, met some really awesome people, and told some pretty cool stories along the way. But sometimes in sports, a run ends a little earlier than expected. For the last 5+ years, I've been able to live out a dream, and I've gave it everything I've had. It's been a heck of a ride, and it's one I'll never forget. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Colbert's all new with Bad Bunny.
I have this hat. Oh!
CBS Tonight.
Well, as you heard from Zach a few minutes ago, this was his final show. We will miss you. And he's been such a big member of our team here, and your words you just shared with us were so heartfelt. And man, you've done a great job here.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, it's just bittersweet because like this is where I want to be, and you know, as an intern here, you come back and you're like, this is it, and you know, sometimes it ends this way, but you know, you're full of gratitude, and you know, you thank everybody for, you know, tuning in, and you know, even if you just watched a second, or the emails, or you're out in public at a high school football game and they're like, hey, you know, so that's the cool part. You know, you'll miss that one.
And you know what though, you love it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to give it up.
Right.
I'm a good example of that. It's been a long time, so.
Yeah, you'll land on your feet, and we look forward to hearing your next adventure.
Thanks.
It's been great working with you. Final check of the forecast on a hot day tomorrow. Banstra is going to be stuck up in the heat.
He's going to be sweating.
Up at Packers training camp. Which
we're going to have heat index values in the triple digits, possibly near 105 for some. Still going to be warm for the rest of the week. Not quite as warm, but we also will see a few chances of storms, especially Thursday and Saturday. Warm temperatures continue for Sunday and Monday. Finally might see some relief by the time we get to the middle of next week, but prepare for the warmth because it's going to stick around.
All right. Thanks so much for watching News 3 Now at 10, everyone. Coming up now is The Late Show.
With Stephen Colbert, and our next newscast coming up tomorrow morning at 4:30. You can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. Have a great night.